Thank you for supporting everyone in their demonstrations. Well done, everyone. I want to begin with some background to traditional Japanese martial arts and the teaching and learning methodology, the ancient teaching and learning methodology that underpins it. The two key points of this are kata geko, which directly translates to forms practice. The second is shu-hari, which is a developmental framework in which centuries of Japanese martial tradition has used in order to progress their students over the centuries. The shu in shu-hari directly translates to obey or follow unwittingly, and it's the fundamental techniques that you learn in the forms at the beginning of your training for many, many years. And you don't necessarily question, you just follow the teacher that you have. And hence the reason why the teacher in any art, irrespective of the art that you choose, and I've been lucky enough to have many great teachers under me, and one of them is here today, I think. And Darryl was my first martial arts training, my first teacher, and he put me on a wonderful path. And the key to a teacher is the key to their lineage and the source of wisdom that is centuries old. If you can't find a good teacher, look somewhere else, because the teacher and their lineage and their connection to source of information is the key to everything. And this comes down to the shu part. The shu, by following unwittingly those fundamental techniques in the martial art that you train. Then over many, many years you'll move into the next stage, which is called ha, shu-hari. The ha is where you start to digress, it translates to digression. And you start to break away and tinker with the edges of the kata and the forms that you've been working with for the last however many years. And that is in order to gain insight into what's inside these techniques, because the techniques are just a vehicle, and I'll get to that much later. The third stage, the ri, shu-hari, is when it directly translates to transcendence. And this is where you have moved beyond, you've tinkered, you've broken, and you've understood the techniques, and you've extracted the wisdom, the centuries-old wisdom that's locked inside the system. And the transcendence is where you've made the techniques natural to you. So they don't actually become techniques anymore, they just become your natural movement. And this is after many, many decades of training. And I'll admit I'm still on that path, just like everybody else. But the system is where the wisdom is locked inside. And the kata geko is the mechanism in which you travel through this framework called shu-hari. And kata geko has three key attributes which are really, really important. The first is in kata geko, or forms practice, the forms have so many junctures and pieces where at any moment within that you can branch off into rabbit holes. Yeah? Often people don't understand it, they just think it looks like a dance, but the dance is actually just teaching you where junctures exist within those techniques. And the second attribute to kata geko is the fact that every one of those kata, or every one of those forms, is actually a vehicle to learn the concepts that underpin the art that you're training. It's the concepts that will endure with you into the shu-hari stage, the final stage when you transcend the basic movements. Okay. So it's really important that you understand that what you're training in terms of the kata, or the kata geko, is a vehicle. It's not a fight as such, it's just a vehicle to learn the concepts. And the third point is, within those kata are hidden sensei, or hidden lessons at every point. For centuries, people have been working through what's the best way to transmit this knowledge for years and years and years so that it doesn't get lost or diminished. And the kata has built over many, many centuries. And it's not like you can understand it in your first year, or maybe even in your first decade of training. Over time, it's like a video game where until you've actually built some proficiency, you can't unlock the insight into what it is you're doing. So you could train the same technique for tens of 10 years, 20 years, and only on that 25th year do you gain insight into something that you've been doing obliviously for many, many years, and the penny drops. And it's because you've unlocked that wisdom, or that lesson, or the sensei at that moment in that thing that's spoken to. So it's really, really genius, an ancient genius locked inside a system. Many people punch out at the shoe stage, and they make judgments based on that first forms part. Unfortunately, that's how some people roll. But if you can spend a lifetime exploring, the benefits are there, locked inside the system. Now today I'm only going to demonstrate 3 techniques. But you'll probably see some variation to these techniques, because within that matrix, these 3 techniques can look quite differently at different times. Okay? The first technique I'm going to demonstrate is called udagarami. Udagarami. Uda means arm, garami means entanglement. And it's in many forms of Jiu-Jitsu or Aikido, it's simply, or Judo, udagarami is just known by arm lock or a kimura in many ways. Okay. But its traditional name is udagarami. Now we begin with yokomeshi udagarami, and it looks Now that was very robotic, and it's meant to be robotic. In the beginning we learn kata in this way, so that you can understand the concepts that underpin. And the concepts of udagarami, for example, as he comes, is atemi. Atemi does not. The other concept here that's very important is frame to your base. If I let him come too close to me, I can't progress. I must hold this frame, and my posture is strong. The next one is connection. So now I'm connected to him. He's just part of my body. So the next movement I do is just natural. I don't think about him, I just think about me. And then he just goes with it. And over time, practicing this robotically, seemingly robotically, you internalize the concepts that underpin it. The connection, the frame, the atemi, until the consciousness becomes more subconscious competence, and you can apply it to any attack or unique interaction. Hey! Still udagarami. Even on the ground, you might find yourself on the ground. If you apply the same concepts, it doesn't matter. So I find myself on the ground. Bring myself in. Just follow the same concept. Frame. Frame. I'm connected. All I need to do now is move my body naturally. Next we're going to do Jiwaza. Jiwaza is where he just keeps coming. You've seen it today in some of your demonstrations. And you have the freedom to put yourself under pressure and apply these concepts the best you can. Translates directly to breath throw. But it implies so much more than just breath. It implies timing, it implies redirection or non-obstruction, and it implies a sense of blending. And we begin with Kokinage in the other stages of training using Katanochi, Shonoichi, and Yokonoichi to understand and develop our feeling of the attack coming. So we start with this one very basically, the in, and next one, Shonoichi, and Yokonoichi, and we do these for years, just understanding where the direction of the throw is coming. Then you can apply it to anything. So you grab it. Same technique, just applying those concepts. Same thing with kick. Still Kokinage, all Kokinage. And Shonoichi. Even on the ground, you can still play the same redirection, landing, and timing. So you find yourself. Same thing, Kokinage, nothing different. Now Jiwaza. Shonoichi. Oh. And in the very beginning, we learned Shonichi, Shonan, Iriminage, Ni. Shonichi. Again, very robotic, purposely robotic. Again, learns to feel what Kazushi feels like of balancing. They also get the opportunity to develop their backward break forward. Whilst their side, the practitioner of the technique, they get to practice the concepts of first connection, also center line, developing a center line power or focus power, and this idea of Kazushi off balancing. Bringing them off balance. Now, Irinage can be applied both offensively or defensively, depending on what you want to do. Offensively. Or defensively. Seemingly different, but all the same. Same concept, connection, kazushi, and Sento. Us! I'm exploring another level of my training from what Mori Sensei calls Aiki waza or Aiki, where the technique doesn't mimic any waza or form anymore. It just comes down to the concepts. And in this case, the key concepts here are connection, kazushi or off balancing, and concentrated power in one point, 3 or 4 line. Now, we practice from the very beginning, first class, kamae. And everyone, after years and years and years, we start the class with kamae, we finish the class with kamae, and people continue to sort of think, I've got this. But kamae is the beginning, but it's also where you come back to. Because all your power comes from kamae. So for example, it must come through my back leg into my hips, my back, to allow me to center it, concentrate it, put it into one point. So for example, he just tries to hit me. From here, just lock it, then drop it. One more time. Lock. Even from a straight punch. Just from here, look. All into one point. From here, off here. Look. Same thing with the grabs. From here, nothing is, I'm not connected to it. but then I use Kamai and fall into one point. Yeah, nothing. Nothing is loose, no connection. Fine, Kamai. Drop one point. Everything through here is nothing loose, but the minute I find one point here, one point. Same if he grabs here, two hands, nothing, come on, and just says a whole. Seems fake. Here, let's come down. What's your feeling?
It's a strange sensation. It's almost like a spring. My body tenses and yes, this is gone.
He grabs here, so often this will precede someone just grabbing you and punching you. Just connect on this point down my spine. Here. Stay. First, try to think here. Right. Connect first. Connect. Now just turn. 1, 2, 3, go. Here, nothing. Look, nothing. I need to find my center, connect to him. Connect. Again, it seems fake. Fake? One hand. Nothing. If I just use strength, I may get him off once, but I can't have to use command. Oh, my. Look for it in the jiwas now. So this is the end of my demonstration. So I just wanted to take you through some background to how the traditional martial arts draw on centuries of wisdom. It's often lost on people who don't really have the insight into those centuries and base all their knowledge on one small viewing without experiencing, one small even experience in the early stages of training, and never pursue the years to move past the form into something that's beyond that. Now, it doesn't matter whether I'm talking Aikido, it doesn't matter if I'm talking Jiu-Jitsu, it doesn't matter if I'm talking Karate, it doesn't matter if I'm talking Judo. All that come from a lineage of centuries mapped back. My teacher, Michiharu Mori Shihan, His teacher was Goshu-ryu Kancho, who started Yoshinkan. And his teacher was Sensei, who began Aikido. And his teacher was Takeda, who was the headmaster of Dojo-cho Jujutsu, which has 900 years of lineage. So within 4 steps, we're connected to a lineage that goes back hundreds of years. I think that's important, and I hope you will find that important as well. Because I think if we just take the latest flash in the pan that looks good, but don't break it open and look for its connection to the source of its, or its origin of its wisdom, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And that maybe is definitely relevant to martial arts, but I think it's also relevant to rugby. So I hope you enjoyed this afternoon. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us, and I hope to see you again maybe next year. Okay, now it's time for